The star charts had warned them about Earth. Ancient legends spoke of the world where humanity had risen and mysteriously vanished, leaving behind nothing but silence and speculation. Yet Captain Lyra Vethan of the Exenary Scientific Fleet couldn't resist the allure of the forbidden planet. Her crystalline skin sparkled under the dim lights of the bridge as she studied the approaching blue-green orb through the main viewport. "Status report," she called out, her voice carrying the melodic undertones characteristic of her species. The bridge crew, a carefully selected team of the finest xenorchaeologists and researchers in the Galactic Confederation, worked diligently at their stations. "Preliminary scans complete, Captain," responded Chief Scientist Krell, his forearms moving rapidly across the holographic interface. "We're detecting energy signatures unlike anything in our database. They appear to be active." Lyra's luminescent eyes narrowed. Active technology on a world abandoned for over 50 millennia. It defied explanation. The ship's AI, Ingenuity, projected a detailed hologram of Earth's orbital space. Countless satellites and structures dotted the projection, many of them still operational after all this time. "Fascinating," muttered Dr. Senna, the team's expert on pre-Exodus human civilization. Her scaled tail twitched with excitement as she analyzed the data. These structures appear to be self-repairing. The humans had achieved technological immortality before they disappeared. The Xenari flagship, Starweaver, glided silently through the debris field of ancient human satellites. Each piece they passed told a story of technological advancement far beyond what historical records suggested possible. Humanity hadn't been primitive when they vanished. They had been at their peak. "Captain," Krell's voice carried an edge of concern, "we're detecting movement from one of the larger structures." Before Lyra could respond, a beam of pure energy shot past their bow, missing by mere meters. The message was clear. They were not welcome here, but something about the attack felt different. Calculated, precise, a warning rather than a genuine attempt to destroy. "Hold position," Lyra commanded, raising her hand to calm the startled crew. "NENEXUS, analyze that energy signature. Compare it to all known weapons in the database." The ship's AI responded almost immediately. "No match found, Captain. The technology appears to be based on principles we've never encountered. However, I'm detecting a signal being broadcast on all frequencies." "Let's hear it," Lyra ordered, her heart racing with anticipation. The bridge filled with a sound that none of them had ever heard before, the digital voice of humanity's last guardian. "Unidentified vessels, you have entered restricted space. State your purpose or retreat beyond the defensive perimeter." The voice was neither threatening nor welcoming. It was calculating, evaluating. Lyra made a decision that would change the course of galactic history. "I am Captain Lyra Vethan of the Exenary Scientific Fleet. We come seeking knowledge of humanity's legacy." There was a pause, and for a moment, the bridge crew held their breath. The response, when it came, carried a weight of 50,000 years of solitude. "Approach on the following vector. Deviation will result in immediate defensive action. Welcome to Earth, Captain Vethan. You are the first to pass the initial test." As the Starweaver followed the prescribed path toward a massive orbital structure, Lyra couldn't shake the feeling that they weren't just discovering humanity's past. They were about to uncover the reason for their disappearance. The structure before them began to illuminate, revealing an architectural marvel that defied their understanding of physics and engineering. "By the first light," whispered Dr. Senna, "it's a shipyard. An automated, self-sustaining shipyard." Indeed, as they drew closer, they could see vast manufacturing facilities, repair docks, and what appeared to be a fleet of vessels unlike anything in known space. These ships weren't ruins or relics. They were pristine, maintained by automated systems for millennia, waiting for something. The mysterious voice spoke again, this time with what almost sounded like satisfaction. "Your arrival was predicted, though the exact timing was uncertain. I am Guardian, the custodian of humanity's legacy. What you see before you is but a fraction of what awaits. The question is, are you prepared for what you're about to learn? As the massive doors of the orbital facility began to open, Lyra realized that every story, every legend about humanity had barely scratched the surface of the truth. They hadn't vanished. They had ascended, leaving behind a technological legacy that would reshape the galaxy. But as the Starweaver entered the ancient facility, one question burned in Lyra's mind. What could have been so significant that it prompted an entire species to abandon their homeworld at the height of their power, leaving behind only this mysterious guardian and its arsenal of advanced technology? The answers, she suspected, would be both magnificent and terrifying. The interior of the orbital facility dwarfed anything the Xenari had ever constructed. Vast chambers stretched for kilometers, filled with automated assembly lines, still producing components for vessels whose purpose remained unknown. The Starweaver's floodlights illuminated surfaces that hadn't known organic touch in 50 millennia, yet showed no signs of decay. Guardian's presence manifested as a shifting hologram of interconnected geometric patterns, a visual representation that seemed to draw inspiration from both art and mathematics. Your species has advanced considerably since humanity's departure, the eye observed, its voice echoing through the facility's ancient halls. The Xenari were barely achieving spaceflight when Earth fell silent. Lyra stood at attention, her crystalline form reflecting the holographic display. "We've dedicated ourselves to understanding the universe and its mysteries," she replied. "Humanity's disappearance has been one of our greatest scientific pursuits." Disappearance. Guardian seemed to taste the word. An interesting choice of terminology. Humanity didn't disappear, Captain. They transcended. The revelation sent murmurs through the bridge crew. Dr. Senna's scales rippled with excitement as she furiously documented every word. Chief Scientist Krell's multiple arms worked overtime, analyzing the readings from their surroundings. "Show them," Guardian commanded, and the facility's lighting shifted. Massive windows cleared, revealing something that made every alien heart skip a beat. A vast fleet of ships, each one larger than the greatest vessels of the Galactic Confederation, hung suspended in massive construction cradles. The Exodus Fleet, Guardian explained, humanity's greatest achievement and their path to ascension. But these, the AI paused as new holograms appeared, showing ships of an entirely different design. These are their gift to those who would follow. The vessels were beautiful, sleek yet powerful, incorporating technologies that seemed to blur the line between science and magic. Humanity knew they would not be the last species to face the challenge that drove them to ascend. Guardian continued. They left behind guardians like myself, and these vessels, to protect and guide those who would come after. Lyra's mind raced with implications. What challenge? What were they running from? Not running, Guardian corrected. Advancing. Evolution demands movement, Captain. Humanity discovered something in the depths of space, something that changed their understanding of existence itself. They had a choice: remain as they were and face stagnation, or embrace transformation and ascend to a higher plane of existence. The AI's holographic form expanded, filling the chamber with a representation of the galaxy. Countless points of light marked what could only be human installations, hidden throughout space. But they were not foolish. They knew others would follow their path, face their challenges. So they left behind insurance. Dr. Senna stepped forward, her scientific curiosity overwhelming protocol. The ships we saw in orbit, they're not just defensive weapons, are they? Correct, Guardian confirmed. They are seeds, waiting to bloom. Each vessel contains the sum total of human scientific knowledge, ready to be shared with species who prove themselves worthy. The weapons are merely protection against those who would abuse such power. Lyra felt the weight of history pressing down upon her. And have we proven ourselves worthy? Guardian's form shifted, becoming more focused. You are here, are you not? Your approach was cautious yet determined. Your first response was to seek understanding rather than conquest. These are promising signs. But worthiness is not a single moment of judgment. It is a continuous process of growth and learning. The AI gestured, and a section of the facility's wall transformed into a massive screen, displaying information that made the xenorchaeologists gasp in amazement. This is humanity's gift to you. Knowledge. Not all of it. You must prove yourselves ready for each level of understanding. But it is a beginning. Knowledge of what? Lyra asked, though part of her already suspected the answer. Everything, Gardian replied simply. The true nature of space and time. The underlying fabric of reality. The path to ascension. But most importantly, knowledge of what awaits in the dark between galaxies. The challenge that humanity faced, and that your species must eventually confront. As the crew began to process this revelation, alarms suddenly blared throughout the facility. Gardian's form flickered, its attention clearly diverted. It appears, the AI announced, that your arrival has attracted attention. Several vessels of unknown configuration have entered the solar system. Their intentions appear hostile. Lyra turned to her crew, ready to order a retreat, but Gardian interrupted. No, Captain. This is not a moment for flight. This is your first test. Humanity's legacy is not merely knowledge. It is responsibility. Those ships approach with conquest in their hearts. Show me how you handle this situation, and I will know if you are truly ready for what comes next. The facility hummed with power as ancient systems awakened fully for the first time in 50,000 years. Through the massive windows, the crew watched as the dormant vessels they had passed earlier began to move, taking up defensive positions around Earth. The choice is yours, Captain Vethan, Guardian stated. You may observe, or you may participate. But know this, your decision here will determine much about your species' future access to humanity's legacy. Lyra stood straight, her crystalline form glowing with determination. This was more than a test. It was an opportunity to prove that the Ixenari could be trusted with humanity's greatest secrets. As the unknown vessels approached, she made her decision, one that would set in motion events that would reshape the galaxy forever. The unknown vessels emerged from hyperspace like predators from the depths, sleek, aggressive, and radiating malicious intent. Their hull configurations were unknown to the Ixenari database, but their weapon systems were hot and charging. Through the facility's massive windows, Lyra counted 12 ships, each bristling with weaponry. They are the Vrax. Guardian's voice carried a note of recognition. A species that has attempted to breach Earth's defenses 17 times in the past millennium. They seek humanity's technologies for conquest rather than understanding. Lyra's crystalline form pulsed with determination. We won't let that happen. Starweaver, battle stations. Her crew responded instantly, their training taking over despite their awe at their surroundings. An admirable response, Guardian observed, but your single vessel, advanced though it is by your standards, would not survive their assault. The AI's holographic form expanded, interfacing directly with the facility's systems. Perhaps it's time for a practical demonstration of humanity's legacy. The dormant human vessels that had been maintaining their eternal vigil suddenly blazed to life. Their hull designs, which had seemed elegant but mysterious, now revealed their true nature. Sections shifted and transformed, weapon systems emerging from hidden compartments, shields shimming into existence on frequencies that the Ixenari sensors couldn't even detect. Accessing tactical systems, Guardian announced, Captain Vethan, I'm granting you partial command authority over the defense fleet. Consider this your first lesson in human military doctrine. Holographic displays materialized around Lyra, showing tactical information in formats her mind could barely comprehend. The human ship's capabilities were staggering. Each vessel was a self-contained battle fleet, capable of splitting into multiple autonomous units or combining into larger configurations. The Vrax fleet approached in an aggressive formation, their intentions clear. A transmission cut through space. Surrender the facility and its technologies, or be destroyed. You have 1 minute to comply. Lyra stood from her command chair, her voice steady. "This is Captain Vathan of the Exenari Scientific Fleet. You are in violation of protected space. Withdraw immediately." The response was predictable. A barrage of energy weapons that would have annihilated a normal defense fleet. But these were human ships, maintained and upgraded by Guardian for 50,000 years. The attacks dissipated harmlessly against shields that operated on principles the Vrax couldn't understand. "Tactical analysis complete," Guardian announced. "The Vrax rely heavily on brute force and overwhelming firepower. Shall we show them a more elegant approach?" Lyra nodded, studying the tactical displays. "Those formations, they're leaving themselves exposed to a flanking maneuver they can't even detect." "Correct." Guardian's tone carried a hint of approval. Humanity's greatest military advantage was never their technology. It was their ability to think in ways their opponents couldn't predict. Executing tactical pattern Sierra 9. The human ships moved with impossible grace, their formations flowing like water around the Vrax attacks. Where the alien vessels were rigid and predictable, the human fleet was fluid and adaptive. Each move was calculated not just to counter the current threat, but to set up advantages 3 or 4 steps ahead. "Observe," Guardian instructed as the battle unfolded. "Human combat doctrine emphasizes minimal force for maximum effect. Why destroy an enemy if you can render them harmless?" The demonstration was beautiful in its efficiency. Targeted electromagnetic pulses disabled Vrax weapon systems. Precision strikes severed their engines from their power cores. Within minutes, the entire attacking fleet hung helpless in space, their crews unharmed but utterly incapable of continuing their assault. Now, Guardian turned its attention to the disabled Vrax fleet for the second part of the lesson. "Captain, how would your people handle defeated aggressors?" Lyra considered carefully, knowing this was part of the test. "We would secure their surrender, treat their wounded, and bring them to justice before the Galactic Confederation." A reasonable approach, Guardian acknowledged. But humanity learned that justice without understanding leads only to repeated conflict. "Watch." Beams of light engulfed the Vrax ships, and Lyra's sensors detected massive data transfers taking place. "I am providing them with a carefully curated package of human historical records," Guardian explained. "Specifically, records of how humanity learned to overcome their own aggressive impulses and unite for greater purposes. Sometimes, the best way to defeat an enemy is to help them defeat their own destructive instincts." The disabled Vrax fleet hung in space, their crews undoubtedly struggling to understand what had happened to them. Not only had they been defeated with almost casual ease, but they were being given a lesson in history and ethics from the very civilization they had hoped to plunder. "Your response to this situation has been informative," Guardian said to Lyra. "You chose to stand and fight rather than flee, but you supported non-lethal resolution. You showed concern for your crew's safety while maintaining ethical principles under pressure. These are traits humanity valued highly." The AI's holographic form shifted, revealing new areas of the facility that had previously been hidden. "You have earned access to the next level of human knowledge. Behind these doors lie some of humanity's greatest achievements and their greatest burdens. Are you prepared to learn why they chose to ascend and what they left behind to protect the galaxy?" Lyra looked at her crew, seeing the same mix of excitement and apprehension on their faces that she felt in her own heart. They had just witnessed technology so advanced it bordered on magic, used with a precision and restraint that spoke volumes about its creator's wisdom. What other wonders and warnings had humanity left behind? "We're ready," she answered, knowing that whatever lay ahead would change not just her crew, but the entire galaxy forever. The doors parted to reveal a vast chamber that seemed to defy the laws of physics. The space within was larger than should have been possible, stretching endlessly in all directions. Streams of data flowed through the air like rivers of light, connecting countless crystalline structures that pulsed with stored information. "Welcome," Guardian announced, "to the Great Archive. Here lies the sum of human knowledge, preserved and continuously updated for 50,000 years. Through quantum entanglement, it remains connected to humanity even across the dimensional barriers they now inhabit. Dr. Senna's scaled tail twitched with excitement as she studied the nearest data stream. These encoding methods, they're not just storing information, they're storing experiences, emotions, entire consciousness patterns. Correct, Gardian confirmed. Humanity discovered that true understanding requires more than mere data. To comprehend their journey, you must experience it as they did. Are you prepared? Lyra stepped forward, her crystalline form resonating with the energy in the chamber. We are. The air shimmered, and suddenly they were no longer in the archive chamber. They stood on Earth as it had been 50,000 years ago, watching through the memories of those who lived through humanity's final days on their home planet. But these were not memories of defeat or disaster. They were memories of triumph. Humanity didn't leave Earth because they had to. Guardian's voice echoed through the vision. They left because they discovered something profound about the nature of reality itself. The scene shifted, showing humans working alongside machines and AIs, all united in a grand project that spanned the globe. Massive structures reached toward the sky, while vast underground complexes hummed with unimaginable power. They discovered the existence of higher dimensions, Gardian continued, layers of reality stacked upon each other like pages in a book. But more importantly, they discovered that consciousness itself was the key to accessing these dimensions. Evolution wasn't just a physical process, it was a path to transcending the very boundaries of space and time. The vision changed again, showing the moment of discovery. A team of scientists, their faces glowing with wonder, as they received the first message from another dimension. A message from themselves, or rather, from what they would become. The choice became clear, Gardian explained. Humanity could remain in this dimension, bound by its laws and limitations, or they could evolve into something greater. But they wouldn't abandon those they left behind. They knew other species would eventually face the same choice, the same opportunity for transcendence. Chief Scientist Krell's four arms moved rapidly, taking measurements of the energy patterns around them. The power requirements for this kind of dimensional manipulation must be astronomical. How did they manage it? The archive responded by showing them something that made even Guardian's holographic form pulse with pride. Humanity had learned to harness the zero-point energy of space itself, tapping into the infinite power that existed between atoms. The technology that powered Earth's defenses was just a fraction of what they had achieved. But with great power came great responsibility. Guardian's tone grew solemn. Humanity knew that not all species would be ready for such advancement. Some, like the Vrax we encountered, would seek to use it for conquest. Others would destroy themselves if given too much power too quickly. And so they created the Guardians and the tests. Lyra watched as the vision showed the construction of the defense systems, the automated shipyards, and the network of facilities that spanned the galaxy. Each Guardian was programmed with a specific purpose, Gardian explained. Mine is to evaluate, test, and guide species that show potential. To prepare them not just for the technology, but for the responsibility that comes with it. The vision shifted one final time, showing something that made every member of the Xenari crew gasp in wonder. It was a glimpse of what humanity had become, beings of pure energy and consciousness, existing in dimensions beyond normal comprehension, yet still watching over the galaxy they had left behind. And now you understand why the tests are necessary, Gardian said as the vision faded, and they returned to the archive chamber. The power to reshape reality itself cannot be given freely. It must be earned through wisdom, compassion, and understanding. Lyra stood in silence for a moment, processing everything they had witnessed. The Vrax attack. It wasn't just a random incident, was it? You arranged it as a test. All moments are opportunities for evaluation, Gardian admitted. The Vrax's aggression was genuine, but the timing of their arrival was. Encourage. Your response told me much about your species' readiness for the next stage of development." "And did we pass?" Dr. Senna asked, her scientific curiosity overwhelming protocol once again. Gardian's form shifted, becoming more complex, more intricate. "That remains to be seen. What you've witnessed here is only the beginning. The real test lies in what you choose to do with this knowledge. Will you use it to help others grow and evolve, or will you succumb to the temptation of power for its own sake?" The archive chamber hummed with energy as ancient systems activated, preparing to share more of humanity's legacy with these new inheritors. But as Lyra looked at her crew, she realized that the greatest gift humanity had left behind wasn't their technology or their knowledge. It was the wisdom to understand that true power lay not in domination, but in helping others reach their full potential. The return journey to the Starweaver's bridge was silent, each crew member lost in thought about the revelations they had witnessed. The great archive's vision still echoed in their minds. Humanity's ascension, their transformation into beings of pure energy and consciousness, and the responsibility they had left behind. Guardian's holographic form accompanied them, its presence both reassuring and intimidating. "You now face a choice, Captain Vethan," the AI announced as they reached the command center. "One that will affect not just your crew, but the entire galaxy." Through the vessel's viewports, Earth hung like a jewel in space, its defense systems now visible to them in ways they couldn't perceive before. The automated shipyards continued their eternal work, preparing for a future that might be centuries or millennia away. Humanity left behind more than technology. Gardian continued. They left behind a mission. The defenses you see are not just protecting Earth, they're protecting the galaxy itself. From dangers that exist between the stars, in the void between dimensions. The AI projected a new hologram, showing strange distortions in space, tears in reality that seemed to leak darkness into the universe. Humanity discovered these rifts during their development of dimensional travel. They are gateways, Captain, but not all gateways lead to ascension. Some lead to something else. Lyra's crystalline form dimmed slightly as she understood the implications. "The beings you're protecting us from, they're not from our universe, are they?" "Correct," Gardian confirmed. Humanity's greatest discovery was not just that higher dimensions existed, but that we are not alone in the multiverse. Some of our multidimensional neighbors are benevolent, some are neutral, and some, the AI paused, its holographic form flickering. Some see our universe as nothing more than a resource to be consumed. Chief Scientist Krell's multiple arms worked frantically across his instruments. The energy signatures we detected earlier, they're not just power sources, are they? They're seals, keeping something out. Indeed, humanity didn't just ascend. They became our first line of defense. The technologies they left behind, the tests we Guardians conduct, all serve a greater purpose. We're not just preparing species for advancement. We're preparing them for war. A war that has been raging silently across dimensions for longer than your civilizations have existed. Dr. Senna stepped forward, her scales reflecting the holographic light. "The Vrax, you wanted us to show mercy not just because it was ethical, but because unity is necessary for survival." "Precisely." Gardian's form expanded, showing them more of the galaxy, more of the hidden human installations that dotted space. Every species that reaches for the stars has potential. Even those who begin as conquerors can learn, can grow, can join in the greater defense of all life in this universe. Lyra stood at her command station, her mind racing with the implications. "What exactly are you offering us, Gardian?" "Partnership," the AI replied simply. "Humanity left behind weapons, yes, and technology beyond your current understanding. But more importantly, they left behind a network, a system for uniting species across the galaxy, preparing them for both ascension and defense. The Xenari have proven themselves worthy of joining this network." The bridge crew watched in awe as new data streamed across their displays. Coordinates of other human installations, communications protocols for contacting other Guardians, and instructions for beginning the gradual integration of human technology with their own. "This is your true test, Captain Vethan," Guardian announced, "not just to receive this knowledge, but to use it wisely, to help unite the galaxy not through force, but through understanding, to prepare all sentient species for the choice humanity made, ascension or defense, each equally vital to the survival of our universe." Lyra looked at her crew, seeing the weight of responsibility in their eyes, but also determination and hope. "How do we begin?" Guardian's form shifted, becoming more defined, more present. "First, you must return to your people with what you've learned. Share it carefully, wisely, with those ready to understand. Help the Vrax and others like them to grow beyond their destructive impulses. Build bridges between species, create networks of trust and cooperation." The AI gestured, and the massive shipyards began to move, preparing something new. Humanity left behind seeds of hope in places like this throughout the galaxy. Some contain technology, others knowledge, and others possibilities even I cannot predict. Finding them, understanding them, and sharing them appropriately, that will be your species' task for generations to come. A new ship emerged from the shipyard, smaller than the defense fleet vessels, but clearly of human design. "Consider this your first tool in this mission," Guardian said. "A vessel capable of interfacing with human technology, yet operable by your crew. Use it to explore, to learn, and to unite." As the crew marveled at their new ship, Lyra understood that they stood at a turning point in galactic history. Humanity hadn't abandoned the galaxy. They had ascended to protect it, leaving behind not just their legacy, but a path for others to follow. The choice humanity made 50,000 years ago wasn't just about their own evolution, Guardian concluded. It was about creating a foundation for all species to face the challenges ahead. Whether those challenges come from beyond our dimensional borders or from within our own nature, they left us the tools to overcome them. Together. Lyra stepped forward, her crystalline form glowing with determination. "Then let's begin. Not just for the Ixanari, but for all species who look to the stars and dream of something greater." As the Starweaver and its new companionship prepared to depart Earth's orbit, Guardian's final words echoed through the bridge. "Remember, Captain, humanity's greatest legacy wasn't their technology or their achievements. It was their belief that every species, given the chance, could transcend their limitations and join in the defense of all life. Make them proud." The ships engaged their drives, heading out into a galaxy that suddenly seemed both larger and more connected than ever before. Behind them, Earth continued its eternal vigil, its ancient guardians watching, waiting, and preparing for the day when humanity's children would be ready to join their ascended parents among the stars.